The Butterfly by Hans Christian Andersen. The butterfly wanted to find himself a sweetheart. Of course, one of the nice little flowers was what he wanted. So he had a look at them. Each sat so quietly and modestly on her stalk, just as a young lady should sit when she's not yet engaged. But what a lot there were to choose from! This was a difficulty the butterfly didn't know how to get over, and so he fluttered off to the daisy. The French call her Margarete, for they know she can tell fortunes, and she does too. Lovers pick off her petals one by one, and with each of them they ask a question about their sweetheart. She loves me. She doesn't. She may do. She won't. She would if she could, but she can't. Or something like that. Everyone asks in his own language, and so the butterfly also came to ask. He didn't pull off the petals, but gave each of them a kiss, his idea being that kindness pays best in the long run. "Chère Margarete," he said, "you are the wisest woman among all the flowers. You can tell fortunes. Please tell me, which am I to have? This one? Or that one? Or which one? Directly I know, I can fly straight along to her and begin courting." But the daisy never answered a word. She couldn't bear him to call her a woman, for, you see, a woman would be a missus, and she was a miss. He asked her a second time, and he asked her a third time, and as he couldn't get a single word out of her, he gave up asking her any more, but flew off, courting again. It was early spring. There were masses of snowdrops and crocuses. "They're very pretty," said the butterfly. "Sweet little things, who have just come out. They're rather colourless." Like all young men, he had an eye for older girls. Then he flew away to the anemones, but found them a trifle bitter in their outlook. The violets rather too romantic, the tulips too showy, the daffodils too suburban, the lime blossoms too small, and besides, they had such a lot of relations. The apple blossoms certainly looked like roses, but they were here today and gone tomorrow at the least bit of wind. He felt that it would be too short a marriage altogether. The sweet pea was the one he liked best. She was red and white and so delicate and refined. She was one of those domesticated girls who are both good looking and good in the kitchen. He was just going to propose to her when suddenly, close by him, he caught sight of a pea pod with a dead flower hanging on the end of it. "Who's that?" he asked. "It's my sister," said the sweet pea. "Oh, I see. So that's what you look like later on in life, is it?" This rather scared the butterfly, and so off he flew. There was some honeysuckle hanging over the fence with a lot of those girls that have long faces and sallow complexions. They weren't at all his type. Well, but what sort did he like? You'd better ask him yourself. Spring passed, summer passed, and now it was autumn. He was no nearer making up his mind, and the flowers now put on their loveliest dresses. But what good was that? The fresh fragrance of youth had all gone. Fragrance it is that the heart's in search of as the years go by. And it can't be said there's much of that in the lilas and hollyhocks. So the butterfly flew down to the mint. She hasn't any blossom, I know, but she's a whole flower in herself. Scented from root to crown, with fragrance in every leaf, she is the one I'll choose. And so, at last, he proposed. But the mint stood stiff and silent, and at last she said, "Friendship, but nothing more. I am old, and you are old. I dare say we might live for one another, but marry? No, Don't let's make fools of ourselves at our time of life. So the butterfly got no one at all. He'd been too choosy, and that doesn't do. The butterfly remained a bachelor, as they're called. It was late autumn, wet and gusty. The old willows creaked as the wind sent shivers down their backs. This was no time to gad about in summer clothes. You might be sorry you did, as they say. But the butterfly wasn't out of doors. He happened to have come inside, where there was a fire burning. Proper summertime warmth it was. Yes, here he could live, but just living is not enough, he said. One must have sunshine, freedom, and a little flower. Down he flew against the window pane, where he was seen, admired, and stuck on a pin in a box of curios. Could more have been done for him? Well, here I am, on a stalk just like the flowers, said the butterfly. I can't say it's altogether comfortable. I expect it's like being married. You're certainly pinned down then. And the thought consoled him. Rather a poor consolation, said the pot plants in the parlour. Still, pot plants aren't always to be trusted, thought the butterfly. They have too much to do with human beings.